The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. Credit card strategies involve financial risk, and individual results may vary based on credit history, spending habits, and financial discipline. Historical trends and case studies discussed are not indicators of future results. It is essential to conduct your own due diligence and consult with a certified financial professional before making decisions regarding credit cards, debt, or personal finance. The creator of this content is not responsible for any financial losses or damages resulting from the use of this information. You are currently paying a hidden tax on every single thing you buy, and if you are using a debit card or cash, you are the one funding someone else's first-class suite to Tokyo. It sounds like a conspiracy, but it is actually the fundamental mechanics of the United States banking system. Every time a merchant swipes a credit card, they pay a fee. To cover that fee, they raise the prices of milk, gasoline, and electronics for everyone. If you aren't capturing that fee back in the form of high-value travel rewards, you are effectively subsidizing the luxury vacations of the top 1% of savvy travelers. Most Americans treat credit card points like a digital coupon book, something to be used for a $20 statement credit or a mediocre toaster from a rewards catalog. That is the exact trap the banks want you to fall into. They want you to earn points slowly and spend them poorly. But there is a mathematical rift in the system, a way to move through the world where your daily expenses transform into global mobility. Today we are closing that loop. We are going beyond the basic cashback mindset and entering the world of transferable points, where a single point is not worth 1 cent, but potentially 5, 8, or even 10 cents in value. The problem for the average US flyer today isn't a lack of options. It is an overwhelming surplus of bad information. You are told to sign up for a specific airline card because you fly them once a year, or you are told that all debt is bad debt, ignoring the fact that strategic credit utilization is the primary engine of modern wealth building and travel. This video is the first part of a comprehensive masterclass designed to solve the friction of travel. We are going to dismantle the myth that you need to be a millionaire to sit at the front of the plane. We are going to show you how to audit your current spending to identify where you are leaving thousands of dollars in travel equity on the table. By the end of this series, you will understand the architecture of the big 3 points currencies, the mechanics of transfer partners, and the specific step-by-step process to booking your first international business class flight for less than the cost of a tank of gas. To understand where we are going, we have to look at the historical trends of the airline industry. In the early days of aviation, loyalty was a simple matter of brand affinity. But in 1981, American Airlines launched AAdvantage, the first modern frequent flyer program. What started as a way to keep business travelers loyal turned into the most profitable sector of the airline business. Today, companies like Delta and United often make more money from their partnerships with banks like American Express and Chase than they do from actually flying planes. This is a crucial data point for you to understand. If the banks and airlines are making billions from these points, it means the points themselves are a secondary currency. They are a commodity that is traded, devalued, and leveraged. Your goal is to become an efficient arbitrageur of that currency. Let's look at a case study of the cashback versus travel points dilemma. Imagine a household spending $30,000 a year on a standard 2% cashback card. At the end of the year, they have $600. That is a solid, tangible result. However, a savvy traveler using a tiered reward system might earn the same 30,000 points, but by utilizing strategic transfer partners, they convert those points into a one-way business class ticket to Europe that retails for $4,500. In this scenario, the cashback user received a 2% return, while the points user received a 15% return on the exact same spend. This isn't magic. It is the result of understanding the valuation gap. In this masterclass, we are focusing on the US market because the United States has the most aggressive credit card competition in the world. Due to the high interchange fees allowed in the US compared to Europe or Australia, American banks are willing to offer massive sign-up bonuses or welcome offers to acquire you as a customer. These bonuses are the lifeblood of travel hacking. We are seeing historical trends where 100,000 to 150,000 points are offered just for opening a single account and meeting a minimum spending requirement. For a typical family, hitting these requirements through normal expenses like groceries, insurance, and utilities can generate enough points for a domestic vacation within 3 months. But before you open a single card, you must understand the rules of the game. The banks have built sophisticated algorithms to prevent churning, which is the practice of opening and closing cards rapidly just for the bonuses. For example, Chase has the 524 rule, an unofficial but widely documented policy where they will not approve you for a new card if you have opened 5 or more personal credit cards from any issuer in the last 24 months. This means your first 5 choices are the most important financial decisions you will make in your travel journey. If you waste those slots on a retail store card or a low-value airline card, you are locked out of the most powerful ecosystems for 2 years. There is also the concept of transferable currencies versus fixed value points. If you have a card that allows you to erase travel purchases at a rate of 1 cent per point, you have a fixed value card. It is simple, but it has a low ceiling. Transferable currencies, like Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express Membership Rewards, and Capital One Venture Miles, allow you to move your points to external airline and hotel programs. This is where the exponential value lives. When you transfer 50,000 points to a partner like Virgin Atlantic or Hyatt, those points are no longer bound by the bank's internal travel portal. They are now subject to the award charts of the loyalty program, which often offer outsized value for high-end redemptions. Consider the potential outcomes of a transfer partner strategy. You could take 60,000 points and book a round-trip economy flight to Hawaii, which might cost $800. That gives you a value of 1.3 cents per point. Or you could wait for a transfer bonus, a periodic event where a bank gives you 30% more miles for your points, and move those same points to an international carrier to book a suite on a long-haul flight. The data shows that users who understand the timing of these transfer bonuses can increase their travel purchasing power by nearly a third without spending an extra dime. We must also address the annual fee psychological barrier. Many U.S. flyers are allergic to the idea of paying $250 or $695 for a credit card. However, a deep dive into the effective annual fee reveals a different story. Most premium travel cards offer statement credits for things you are already paying for: streaming services, Uber rides, Clear memberships, and airport lounge access. When you subtract the value of these credits from the annual fee, you often find that the bank is effectively paying you to hold the card. For instance, if a card has a $550 fee but provides $500 in direct credits and a $200 hotel credit, you are $150 in the black before you even earn a single point. The strategy we are building here is not about spending more money. It is about redirecting spend. It is about ensuring that every dollar leaving your bank account is working for you. In the following sections of this masterclass, we will break down the specific trifectas, combinations of 3 cards that maximize every category of your life, from the 4x points you can earn on dining to the 5x points you can earn on airfare. We will look at the exact spreadsheets used by professional travelers to track their burn rate and earn rate. This is part 1 of a 10-part journey. We have set the foundation. The system is rigged in favor of the bank, but the bank has left doors open for those who understand the math. You now know that your points are a currency, that the US market offers unique opportunities, and that the biggest mistake you can make is acting without a long-term plan. We are moving away from the one-card lifestyle and toward a portfolio approach. The goal is simple: total travel freedom. By the time we finish this series, you will not just be a traveler. You will be a strategist who views every transaction as a step toward your next global destination. We are just getting started. To begin this deep dive, we have to address the fundamental architecture of the credit card ecosystem as it stands in 2026. Most people think they are in the credit card game, but they are actually just spectators. If you have one card in your wallet that you use for everything, you are effectively leaving a 20 to 30% discount on your entire life on the table. To move from a spectator to a strategist, you must understand the concept of the multi-card ecosystem, often referred to in the community as a trifecta or quadfecta. Imagine a typical American professional named Alex living in Chicago. Alex earns a respectable salary and spends roughly $4,000 a month on living expenses, including groceries, dining out, streaming services, and commuting. For years, Alex used a standard bank card that offered a flat 1.5% cash back. At the end of the year, Alex had earned $720. In his mind, that was a win. It paid for a weekend trip to visit family. But let us look at the potential outcomes if Alex had applied a strategic ecosystem approach. By splitting that same $4,000 of monthly spend across 3 specific cards within a single rewards family, the math changes completely. By using a dedicated grocery and dining card that earns 4 times the points, a travel card that earns 5 times the points on flights, and a catch-all card for everything else that earns 2 times the points, Alex's annual point total jumps from 48,000 points to over 130,000 points. In the world of 2026 travel redemptions, 48,000 points might get you a round-trip economy flight to London if you are lucky with the dates. 130,000 points, however, is the gateway to a round-trip business class seat on a top-tier carrier like Qatar Airways or ANA, featuring a lie-flat bed, multi-course fine dining, and lounge access that would otherwise cost $6,000 out of pocket. This is the power of velocity. You are not spending more money, you are simply capturing more value from the money you are already spending. The first pillar of this masterclass is identifying your primary currency. In the United States, there are three titans: Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express Membership Rewards, and Capital One Venture Miles. Each has a distinct personality and a specific set of strengths. Historical trends show that Chase is often the best entry point for the average U.S. flyer because of its partnership with Hyatt and United Airlines. Hyatt is widely considered the holy grail of hotel redemptions because their award chart remains relatively stable compared to competitors like Marriott or Hilton. While a high-end Marriott might cost 100,000 points a night, a comparable Hyatt might only cost 30,000. This means your points go 3 times as far. Imagine if Sarah, a traveler from Dallas, wants to stay at a luxury resort in Maui. If she uses Marriott points earned from a co-branded card, she might need 500,000 points for a 5-night stay. If she uses Chase points transferred to Hyatt, she could secure that same 5-night stay for 150,000 points. The delta between those two scenarios is the difference between taking a vacation once every 4 years or taking one every single year. American Express, on the other hand, is the powerhouse of international airfare. Their membership rewards program has more airline transfer partners than almost any other issuer. In 2026, we see savvy users leveraging transfer bonuses to places like Air France-KLM's Flying Blue program or Avianca Life Miles. Case studies show that during a 30% transfer bonus, you could move 50,000 Amex points and receive 65,000 miles in your airline account. This is how you bypass the inflation that has hit the travel industry over the last few years. While cash prices for flights have surged, the point requirements for many sweet spot routes have remained remarkably consistent. This is the internal hedge against inflation that the wealthy have used for decades, and it is now accessible to anyone with a high-tier credit score and a disciplined approach to spending. Capital One has emerged in 2026 as the disruptor. For a long time, they were seen as a subprime lender, but their Venture X card changed the landscape. It simplified the math for people who do not want to manage 5 different cards. It offers a flat 2 miles per dollar on every purchase. If you are a small business owner or someone with high non-category spend, think specialized medical equipment, tuition, or home renovations. A flat 2 mile per dollar card becomes a massive engine for point accumulation. Imagine a contractor named Jordan who spends $20,000 a month on materials. By putting that on a flat 2% card, Jordan is generating nearly 500,000 miles a year. That is enough to fly a family of 4 to Europe in business class every single summer, entirely on points. But earning the points is only half the battle. The real skill lies in the step-by-step optimization of your wallet. This is where most people fail. They sign up for a card because of a flashy television commercial, not because it fits their spending profile. To do this right, you need to conduct a 60-day spend audit. Look at your bank statements and categorize every transaction into 4 buckets: food, transport, utilities, and other. If your food bucket is your largest expense, your first card must be one that heavily weights dining and groceries. If you spend heavily on Amazon or specific retail outlets, you might need a different strategy. Let us look at a case study of a failed strategy. Mark, a frequent flyer out of Atlanta, signed up for a high-end airline co-branded card because he wanted the free checked bags and priority boarding. He put all his spending on that card for 2 years. He earned 80,000 miles. When he went to book a flight to Japan, he realized that 80,000 miles only covered half of an economy ticket because the airline had recently devalued its miles. Because Mark's points were locked into that specific airline, he had no flexibility. He was a prisoner to their pricing. If Mark had earned transferable points instead, he could have looked at 10 different airlines to see which one offered the best value for his route. He could have transferred those points to a partner airline and booked a superior flight for fewer miles. This flexibility is the ultimate insurance policy against devaluations. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to get into the granular details of the application sprint. There is a specific order in which you should apply for these cards to maximize your approval odds and your total bonus haul. If you go in the wrong order, you could find yourself blacklisted from the best programs for years. We will also discuss the minimum spend requirement and how to hit it without buying things you do not need. There are techniques involving prepaying taxes, using third-party rent payment services, and timing your applications around major life events like weddings or moves that can net you 250,000 points in a single month. The complexity of the system is the very thing that creates the opportunity. Because most people find this too confusing, the banks continue to offer high rewards to attract the few who are willing to learn the mechanics. You are currently standing at the edge of a massive shift in how you perceive your personal finances. You are moving away from the idea of saving for a trip and moving toward the reality of earning your way to a trip through your daily life. But there is a danger. If you do not understand the impact on your credit score and the traps hidden in the fine print, this strategy can backfire. We are going to cover exactly how to protect your credit and how to manage multiple accounts without losing your mind. The open loop is now set. You know the currencies, you know the players, and you know the stakes. Now it is time to build the engine. We are about to look at the exact card combinations that are dominating the 2026 landscape. To build this engine, we have to look at the specific card combinations that have defined the 2026 landscape for high-tier travel. We are moving beyond the single card mindset and into the era of the trifecta. A trifecta is a strategic grouping of 3 credit cards from the same issuer that allows you to maximize every dollar spent by pooling all those points into one central pot for high-value redemptions. If you are just using one card, you are likely earning a flat rate on everything, which is the fastest way to dilute your earning potential. By using 3 cards, you ensure that whether you are buying a latte, paying your electric bill, or booking a flight to Tokyo, you are always earning the maximum possible multiplier. Let us look at the Chase trifecta as our primary case study because it remains the most accessible for the average US flyer. Imagine a professional in Seattle named Marcus. Marcus spends heavily on dining out and groceries but also has a significant amount of uncategorized spending, like his gym membership, car insurance, and monthly subscriptions. If Marcus only uses the Chase Sapphire Preferred, he earns 2 points per dollar on travel and 3 points per dollar on dining. But on his gym membership and insurance, he is only earning 1 point per dollar. To optimize, Marcus adds the Chase Freedom Flex and the Chase Freedom Unlimited to his wallet. Now look at the potential outcomes of this shift. When Marcus goes to the grocery store during a quarter where the Freedom Flex offers 5% back on groceries, he uses that card. When he pays his car insurance or buys a new pair of running shoes, he uses the Freedom Unlimited, which earns 1.5% back on everything. The magic happens because Marcus also holds that Sapphire Preferred. In the Chase ecosystem, you can move points from the no annual fee Freedom cards over to the annual fee Sapphire card. This converts what would have been simple cash back into valuable Ultimate Rewards points that can be transferred to partners like Hyatt or United. Without the Sapphire card, those points are worth exactly 1 cent each. With it, and with the right transfer partner, those same points can easily be worth 2 or 3 cents each. Marcus has effectively tripled the value of his boring spending just by knowing which card to pull out of his wallet. Now, let us contrast this with the American Express trifecta, which is often the choice for high spenders who value luxury and international travel. Imagine a small business owner in Miami named Elena. Elena travels 4 times a year for work and loves high-end dining. Her trifecta consists of the Amex Gold, the Amex Platinum, and the Blue Business Plus. The Amex Gold is her workhorse for food, earning 4 points per dollar at US supermarkets and restaurants. The Amex Platinum is her travel tool, earning 5 points per dollar on flights booked directly with airlines and providing access to the Centurion Lounge network, which in 2026 has expanded to include even more exclusive amenities. Finally, her Blue Business Plus is her catch-all, earning 2 points per dollar on the first $50,000 of any business spend. By using this combination, Elena is almost never earning a measly 1 point per dollar. If she spends $60,000 a year across these categories, she is likely generating over 200,000 membership rewards points. Historical trends in 2026 show that these 200,000 points are the sweet spot for round-trip business class tickets for 2 people to Europe via partners like Air France or Virgin Atlantic. Elena isn't spending more on her business or her lifestyle. She is simply being surgically precise with her payment methods. But a major pitfall many US flyers encounter is the annual fee fatigue. If you hold the Amex Platinum, you are looking at a $695 fee. To a casual observer, that sounds like a liability. However, for a strategist like Elena, it is a net positive asset. In 2026, that card provides a $200 hotel credit, a $200 airline fee credit, a $200 Uber credit, and a $189 Clear Plus credit. If you use those services anyway, the bank is essentially paying you to keep the card in your wallet. This is why you must calculate the effective annual fee before you dismiss a premium card. If the credits cover your existing costs, the massive sign-up bonus and the high earning multipliers are essentially free. Step by step, how do you actually execute this without destroying your credit score? This is where the application sprint comes in. You should never apply for 3 cards in one day. That is a red flag for bank algorithms. Instead, historical data suggests a velocity of 1 card every 90 days is a sustainable pace for most people with a credit score above 740. This allows your score to recover from the small hard inquiry dip and demonstrates to the banks that you are not desperate for credit. Furthermore, you must have a plan for the minimum spend requirement. Let us say you open a card that requires you to spend $4,000 in 3 months to trigger an 80,000-point bonus. If your normal spending is only $1,000 a month, you are $1,000 short. Do not buy things you do not need just to hit a bonus. Instead, look at lumpy expenses. Do you have a semi-annual car insurance payment? Can you prepay your internet or cell phone bill for 6 months? In 2026, many U.S. utilities and even some rent payment platforms like Built or Specialized Services allow you to pay via credit card for a small fee. While a 2.9% fee on a $3,000 rent payment is $87. If that payment triggers a bonus worth $1,200 in travel, the math clearly favors the traveler. Another sophisticated layer of the 2026 landscape is the business card loophole. Many people think they don't qualify for a business card, but in the United States, if you sell items on an online marketplace, drive for a rideshare service, or do any freelance consulting, you can often apply as a sole proprietor using your social security number. The reason this is a game changer is that most business cards do not show up on your personal credit report. This means they do not count toward Chase's 524 rule. If you are at 4 cards in 24 months, and you open a business card, you stay at 4 cards. This allows you to rack up massive bonuses without hitting the ceiling that stops most amateur travelers. Consider the case of David, a side hustle photographer in Austin. David already had 4 personal cards. He needed a new camera and some lighting gear. Instead of using his personal card, he opened a Business Inc. card from Chase. He spent $6,000 on his gear, earned a 90,000-point bonus, and because it was a business card, he was still at 4 out of 24 on his personal report. This allowed him to open another high-value personal card just a few months later. David effectively doubled his runway by understanding the distinction between personal and business credit. As we look toward the next phase of this masterclass, we have to talk about the redemption trap. Earning points is actually the easy part. The hard part is spending them. In 2026, airlines have become masters of dynamic pricing, where the cost of a flight in points can change by the hour based on demand. If you just go to an airline's website and click Book with Miles, you are likely getting the worst possible deal. There is a secret menu of travel redemptions that involves using one airline's miles to book a seat on a completely different airline. This is the world of alliances like Star Alliance, Oneworld, and SkyTeam. In the next part, we are going to pull back the curtain on how to find Savor Award space. We will show you why you should book a flight on United using Turkish Airlines miles, or why you should book a British Airways flight using Qatar Airways Avios. We are going to move from the how to earn into the how to fly for nearly free phase, including the exact websites and tools that the pros use to scan the entire globe for the best seats in the sky. If you think you've seen value so far, you haven't seen anything until you understand the power of the partner booking. The power of the partner booking is the single most important concept to master if you want to extract maximum value from your credit card points in 2026. To understand this, you must first understand the concept of airline alliances. In the modern aviation era, airlines do not operate in a vacuum. They form massive global teams. The 3 primary titans are Star Alliance, Oneworld, and SkyTeam. When you earn a transferable point like a Chase Ultimate Reward or an Amex membership reward, you are essentially holding a universal key that can unlock seats on dozens of different airlines within these alliances. The mistake most U.S. flyers make is assuming they have to book a flight through the airline they are actually flying. For example, if you want to fly on United Airlines from Denver to Honolulu, your first instinct is likely to go to the United website and use United Mileage Plus miles. However, because United is a member of the Star Alliance, their saver seats are often available to be booked by their partners, such as Turkish Airlines, Air Canada, or Avianca. Imagine a traveler named Michael from Denver in the year 2026. Michael wants to take his family to Hawaii for a summer vacation. When he checks the United website, he sees that a one-way economy ticket costs 45,000 United miles per person. For a family of 4, that is 180,000 miles for just one way. This is a massive drain on his point balance. However, if Michael understands partner arbitrage, he knows that Turkish Airlines, a fellow Star Alliance member and a transfer partner of Citi and Capital One, has a fixed price award chart for domestic flights within the United States, including Hawaii. Historically, Turkish Airlines has charged as little as 10,000 miles for that exact same seat on that exact same United plane. By transferring 40,000 points to Turkish Airlines instead of 180,000 to United, Michael has saved 140,000 points. This is not a lucky break. It is the result of utilizing a partner sweet spot. Potential outcomes like this are exactly why we prioritize transferable points over brand-specific airline miles. To execute this, you must understand the distinction between Saver Award Space and Standard Award Space. Airlines only release a small fraction of their seats, typically between 5 and 10%, to their partners. These are known as Saver Awards. In the technical language of airline booking systems, economy saver seats are usually coded as X and business class saver seats are coded as I. If a seat is not coded as a saver award, a partner airline like Turkish or Air Canada cannot see it and therefore cannot book it. This is why you might see a seat available for miles on the United website that does not show up on a partner site. The key step-by-step process for a professional strategist starts with finding that saver space first. In 2026, we use specialized search aggregators like Point.me, Seats.aero, or Romy.travel. These tools allow you to input your origin and destination and scan dozens of airline programs simultaneously to see which one is offering the best price for the specific seat you want. Let us look at a case study involving international travel. Consider Chloe, a freelancer in New York who wants to fly to Paris in business class. If she looks at the Delta website, she might see a price of 350,000 SkyMiles for a one-way flight on Delta's own metal. This is an exorbitant price that most people cannot afford. However, Delta is a member of SkyTeam. Chloe's Amex points can also be transferred to Virgin Atlantic. Because Virgin Atlantic and Delta have a deep partnership, Chloe can often find that exact same Delta One business class seat on the Virgin Atlantic website for just 50,000 miles plus a small tax. This is a 7-fold increase in the value of her points. The plane is the same, the seat is the same, and the champagne is the same. The only difference is the currency she used to buy the ticket. This is the definition of the high-stakes game we are playing. In 2026, the landscape of Avios has also become a critical tool for U.S. flyers. Avios is the shared currency of British Airways, Iberia, Qatar Airways, Aer Lingus, and now Finnair. This means you can move your points freely between these 5 different airlines at a 1-to-1 ratio. This creates incredible flexibility. For instance, if you want to fly to the Middle East or Asia on Qatar Airways' world-renowned Xwite, you can earn points in your British Airways account and then instantly move them to your Qatar Airways Privilege Club account to book the flight. Case studies show that using Qatar's own site often results in lower taxes and fees than booking through a partner. This Avios ecosystem is a major historical trend that has simplified redemptions for one-world travelers, allowing them to pool points from multiple bank transfers into one powerhouse account. A deep dive into partner booking also requires a discussion on phantom availability. This is a common trap where a partner website shows that a seat is available, but when you try to transfer your points and book it, the transaction fails. This happens because the data between airline systems is not always perfectly synchronized. To avoid this, a professional script for a booking should always involve a 3-step verification. First, find the seat on a reliable engine like Air Canada's website for Star Alliance or American Airlines site for oneworld. Second, cross-reference that availability by logging into the specific partner website where you intend to book. Third, if the flight is high-stakes or involves a large number of points, use the chat feature or call the airline to confirm the seat is actually bookable before you initiate a transfer from your bank. Remember, transfers are a one-way street. Once you move your Amex points to an airline, you cannot move them back to Amex. If the seat was a phantom, your points are now stuck in an airline program where they might eventually expire or be devalued. We also have to consider the fuel surcharge factor. Not all partners are created equal. Some airlines, like British Airways or Lufthansa, are notorious for passing on massive carrier-imposed surcharges that can reach nearly $1,000 on a single business class ticket. However, other partners like Air Canada's Aeroplan or Avianca LifeMiles have a policy of not passing on these fees. Imagine if you are booking a flight on Lufthansa. If you use United Miles, you will pay $0 in fuel surcharges. If you use Air Canada Miles, you might pay a small fee of about $35. But if you use Lufthansa's own miles, you might be hit with an $800 bill. By choosing the right partner to book the flight, you are effectively choosing whether your free flight costs $50 or nearly $1,000. The complexity of these alliances also allows for advanced maneuvers like stopovers. In 2026, programs like Air Canada Aeroplan allow you to add a stopover to any international flight for just 5,000 additional miles. This means if you are flying from San Francisco to Singapore, you can stop in Tokyo for 3 days, explore the city, and then continue your journey to Singapore, all on the same ticket. If you were paying cash, this would require 2 separate, expensive tickets. With the right point strategy, it is a minor add-on. This is how professional travelers see more of the world for less. They don't just go from A to B. They build itineraries that maximize the utility of every mile. However, even the most seasoned travelers can fall into the transfer trap. This is the friction that occurs between the moment you click transfer on your bank website and the moment the miles show up in your airline account. Some transfers are instant, while others can take up to 48 hours. In those 48 hours, the saver seat you found could be snatched up by someone else. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to break down the transfer velocity of every major bank and airline pair. We will show you which transfers to trust and which ones require a backup plan. We will also dive into the last-minute award strategy, a controversial but highly effective method used in 2026 to snag first-class seats that airlines release only 14 days before departure. The door to the front of the plane is opening wider, but you need to know exactly when to push. We are moving from the search into the actual transaction. Moving from the search phase into the actual transaction is where the majority of aspiring travel hackers lose their composure. In the world of 2026 travel rewards, the distance between finding a seat and owning that seat is measured in transfer velocity. You have identified the partner, you have confirmed the Saver Award space exists, and you are staring at the transfer button on your American Express or Chase dashboard. This is the moment of maximum risk. If you transfer your points and they do not show up instantly, you are entering a period of financial limbo where your hard-earned points are no longer flexible bank points, but are instead stuck in an airline program that may or may not have the seat available by the time the transaction clears. This is why a professional strategist never clicks transfer without a clear understanding of the transfer velocity for every specific bank-to-partner pair. Let us look at the current data for 2026. Historically, transfers from Chase Ultimate Rewards to partners like Hyatt, United, or Southwest are nearly instantaneous. You click the button, refresh the airline page, and the miles are there. However, other pathways are fraught with delays. Consider the case of Ryan, a marketing executive in San Francisco. Ryan found an incredible business class itinerary on All Nippon Airways, or ANA, for a trip to Tokyo. He saw that he could book this through Virgin Atlantic for a fraction of the points ANA would charge directly. Ryan initiated a transfer of 100,000 points from American Express to Virgin Atlantic. In his mind, he was minutes away from a lie-flat bed. But Ryan didn't account for the fact that Amex to Virgin transfers can sometimes take up to 48 hours during high-volume periods. By the time Ryan's points hit his Virgin account on the second day, another traveler had snatched the seat. Ryan was left with 100,000 Virgin Atlantic miles and no flight. Because points cannot be transferred back to the bank, Ryan's points were effectively orphaned. This is the 48-hour heartbreak that ruins many vacations. To avoid Ryan's fate, you must utilize the hold policy. This is a step-by-step technique used by the top 1% of flyers. Before you transfer a single point, you call the airline's booking desk. While many US-based agents may tell you they cannot hold award seats, international partners often have different rules. For example, in 2026, Air France and KLM's Flying Blue program frequently allow travelers to place a seat on hold for up to 72 hours. Turkish Airlines and Singapore Airlines often have similar, though sometimes unofficial, policies. The procedure is simple. Call the airline, give them the flight numbers and dates, and ask the agent to create a PNR, or passenger name record, and hold the seat while you transfer the points. Once you have a reference number and a verbal confirmation that the seat is locked, only then do you initiate the transfer from your bank. This eliminates the risk of the seat disappearing during the technical lag of the banking system. If an airline does not allow holds, you must rely on transfer velocity tables. In 2026, we have seen a trend where Capital One and Bilt have improved their infrastructure to offer nearly instant transfers to 90% of their partners. American Express and Citi remains more variable. A professional move is to always test a transfer with the minimum amount, usually 1,000 points, to see if it clears instantly. If those 1,000 points show up in seconds, you can safely move the remaining balance. If they don't, you know you are in for a wait, and you can adjust your expectations or look for an alternative route. Now, we must discuss the most advanced maneuver in the 2026 playbook, the T14 strategy. T14 refers to the 14-day window before a flight departs. In the past, people believed that the earlier you booked, the better the deal. In the world of high-tier points and miles, the opposite is often true. Airlines like Lufthansa, Japan Airlines, and Qatar Airways often hold on to their most luxurious first and business class seats, hoping a corporate traveler will pay $20,000 in cash at the last minute. When that seat remains empty 10 to 14 days before departure, the airline's revenue management algorithm dumps the seat into the award system as a saver award. Imagine a scenario involving Emily, a spontaneous traveler from Nashville. Emily wanted to experience Lufthansa first class, specifically for the famous first-class terminal in Frankfurt, where you are driven to your plane in a Porsche. She didn't bother looking for seats 6 months in advance because she knew Lufthansa historically only releases first-class space to partners like United or Air Canada within 15 days of the flight. Using a tool like Seats.aero, Emily set an alert for any Lufthansa first-class departure from the US East Coast to Germany. 10 days before her desired travel date, her phone buzzed. A seat had opened up from Newark to Frankfurt. Because Emily had her points ready in a transferable account, she moved 87,000 points to Air Canada's Aeroplan and booked the seat instantly. The potential outcomes of the T14 strategy are spectacular, but it requires a high degree of flexibility. You cannot use this for a family of 5 going to a specific wedding. This is for the solo traveler or the couple who can pack their bags and leave on a Tuesday. The data shows that in 2026, roughly 30% of international premium cabin award inventory is released in this close-in window. If you are willing to wait until the final 2 weeks, you can often find seats that were completely unavailable for the previous 11 months. This leads us to the concept of earn and burn. A major mistake made by US Fliers is hoarding points like a long-term savings account. You must view credit card points as a currency with a high rate of inflation. Historical trends prove that airlines devalue their charts every 18 to 24 months. A flight that costs 60,000 miles today might cost 80,000 miles next year. In 2026, we have seen several major domestic carriers shift entirely to dynamic pricing, meaning the point price is tied directly to the cash price. If the cash price goes up, your points become less valuable. A professional strategist aims for a zero balance, at least once every 2 years. You earn the points with a specific trip in mind, and you burn them as soon as you find the availability. Hoarding 1,000,000 points is not a sign of wealth. It is a sign of a traveler who is losing purchasing power every day that those points sit idle. Step by step, your goal is to build a redemption pipeline. This means you are constantly earning points through your trifecta of cards, while simultaneously monitoring award space for your next 3 potential destinations. You don't wait until you have the points to start looking. You look first, understand the patterns of when the seats appear, and then align your earning strategy to match the requirements of the partner you intend to use. We have now covered the mechanics of the transaction, the dangers of transfer lag, and the high-reward world of last-minute bookings. But there is a final piece of the puzzle that most people ignore until it is too late: the soft perks and protections. If you book a free flight but your luggage is lost, or your flight is delayed by 12 hours, who pays for your hotel? If you use the wrong card to pay the $5 tax on your award ticket, you might be out of luck. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the insurance matrix of premium credit cards. We will look at why the card you use to pay the taxes is just as important as the points you use to book the seat. We will also explore the lounge arbitrage of 2026, showing you how to get into the most exclusive airport enclaves even if you are flying economy. The journey is becoming more comfortable, but only if you know the hidden rules of the terminal. The hidden rules of the terminal start with the plastic in your pocket, but they end with a level of comfort that most people assume is reserved for the ultra-wealthy. In 2026, the airport experience has become increasingly bifurcated. On one side, you have the standard terminal experience: overcrowded gates, expensive mediocre food, and the constant stress of noise. On the other side, there is the lounge network. For a professional strategist, a lounge is not a luxury. It is an office, a dining room, and a spa that saves you $50 to $100 every time you travel. But not all lounges are created equal, and the way you gain access in 2026 has shifted due to extreme overcrowding. Consider the case of Tyler, a consultant from Phoenix. Tyler holds a premium travel card that provides a Priority Pass membership. Historically, Priority Pass was the golden ticket to over 1,000 lounges worldwide. However, in recent years, many domestic U.S. lounges have started turning away Priority Pass holders during peak hours to prioritize their own club members. Tyler arrived at the airport 2 hours early, hoping for a quiet place to work and a free meal, only to find a sign stating the lounge was at capacity for Priority Pass. Because Tyler didn't have a backup plan, he spent $30 on a sandwich and a coffee at a crowded terminal kiosk. The potential outcome for Tyler would have been entirely different if he had understood lounge arbitrage. In 2026, the most resilient travelers carry cards that offer direct access to proprietary networks, such as the American Express Centurion Lounges, Capital One Lounges, or Chase Sapphire Lounges. These networks are more exclusive and often have higher barriers to entry, which ironically makes them more reliable. Furthermore, a key step-by-step detail many overlook is the guest policy. Many premium cards have removed free guest access in 2026 to combat crowding. A strategist knows that by adding an authorized user to their account, often for a flat annual fee, they can grant that person their own independent lounge access, often saving hundreds of dollars in guest fees over a single year of family travel. Beyond the food and the quiet, there is the insurance matrix. This is the most technical and arguably the most important part of the 2026 travel toolkit. When you book a flight using points, you are still required to pay a small amount in taxes and fees, usually ranging from $5.60 for a domestic flight to several $100s for an international business class seat. The card you use to pay those taxes is the card that provides your travel insurance. If you use a card with weak protections, you are effectively self-insuring your trip. Imagine a scenario involving Maya, a teacher from Portland. Maya booked a dream vacation to Italy using 100,000 points she transferred to an airline partner. She paid the $80 in taxes using a basic cashback card she had owned for a decade. While in Rome, her suitcase, containing all her clothes and expensive camera gear, was lost by the airline. Because she paid the taxes with a card that lacked luggage insurance, she had to spend over $1,000 of her own money to replace her essentials. Had she used a premium travel card like the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Amex Platinum to pay those taxes, she would have been eligible for up to $3,000 in lost luggage reimbursement and $500 for baggage delay. This insurance matrix extends to trip delay reimbursement. In 2026, flight cancellations and delays have become a standard part of the U.S. aviation landscape. If your flight is delayed overnight for a reason within the airline's control, they might give you a hotel voucher. But if it is due to weather or air traffic control, they owe you nothing. If you paid your taxes with a card that offers trip delay protection, the bank will reimburse you for a hotel room, meals, and toiletries, usually up to $500 per ticket, once the delay exceeds 6 or 12 hours. This turns a miserable night on an airport floor into a comfortable stay at a Hyatt or Marriott, paid for by the bank. Step by step, you must verify 3 specific types of coverage before you book: trip cancellation and interruption, trip delay, and primary rental car insurance. Most credit cards offer secondary rental car insurance, which means you still have to file a claim with your personal auto insurance first, potentially raising your premiums. Only a handful of cards in 2026 offer primary coverage, where the credit card company handles the claim entirely, keeping your personal insurance record clean. For a traveler like Maya, this single benefit can save hundreds of dollars in collision damage waiver fees at the rental counter. We must also discuss the technicality of the common carrier rule. To trigger these insurance benefits, the entire trip doesn't necessarily have to be paid for with the card, but the fare must be charged to it. In the world of points and miles, the taxes and fees on an award ticket count as the fare. This is a crucial data point. Even if 99% of the cost was covered by points, that small $5 transaction acts as the key that unlocks $10,000 or more in potential insurance coverage. However, the terminal experience isn't just about what happens when things go wrong. It is about the soft perks that accelerate your movement through the physical airport. In 2026, we are seeing a massive push toward biometric security. Programs like TSA PreCheck, Global Entry, and Clear are no longer optional for the frequent flyer. They are essential. Almost every mid-tier and high-tier travel card now offers a statement credit to cover the application fees for these programs. A professional strategist ensures that every member of their household has these credits utilized. If you have a credit on a card you aren't using, you can use it to pay the application fee for a friend or family member, as the bank only sees the merchant category, not the name on the application. Let us look at a case study of the Global Entry trap. Global Entry includes TSA PreCheck and allows you to bypass the massive customs lines when returning to the US. However, the interview wait times in 2026 can be 6 months or longer. A savvy traveler knows to use enrollment on arrival, where you complete your interview at the customs desk when returning from an international trip, skipping the months of waiting for an appointment. Alternatively, they use the mobile passport control app, which in some airports is actually faster than the dedicated Global Entry lanes. As we move deeper into this masterclass, we have to address the reality of status. While points get you the seat, elite status gets you the upgrade. In 2026, the lines between credit card rewards and elite status have blurred. Some cards allow you to spend your way to status without ever stepping foot on a plane. We are going to look at the hotel status shortcut, where holding a single card can instantly grant you gold or platinum status at Marriott or Hilton, leading to free breakfasts, room upgrades, and late checkouts that would normally require 50 nights of stay per year. The strategy is shifting from how we fly to how we stay. In the next part, we will dismantle the hotel loyalty programs. We will show you why earning hotel points is often a bad investment compared to earning bank points. And we will reveal the luxury hotel and resorts programs that provide 5-star benefits like $100 spot credits and guaranteed late checkout, just by booking through a specific credit card portal. We are moving from the airport terminal to the hotel lobby, and the math is about to get even more lucrative. The loop is widening. You've mastered the flight. Now it's time to master the destination. Mastering the destination requires a complete shift in how you evaluate currency. If airline miles are the engine that gets you across the ocean, hotel points and elite status are the infrastructure that determines the quality of your existence once you land. In 2026, the economics of hotel loyalty have undergone a massive transformation. We have seen a historical trend where major chains like Marriott and Hilton have moved almost entirely to dynamic pricing, meaning a room that cost 50,000 points yesterday might cost 85,000 today because a local convention was announced. For the uninitiated US traveler, this creates a sense of frustration, but for the strategist, it creates an opportunity to exploit the gap between cash prices and point valuations. Let us start with the hard data on point valuations. In the current 2026 landscape, not all points are created equal. Historical trends show that Hilton Honors and Marriott Bonvoy points are typically valued at approximately 0.5 to 0.8 cents per point. In contrast, World of Hyatt points consistently hover between 1.7 and 2.3 cents per point. This is a massive delta. If you earn 100,000 points in a year, those points are worth $500 in the Hilton ecosystem but could be worth over $2,000 in the Hyatt ecosystem. This is why many professional travelers focus their Chase Ultimate Rewards transfers almost exclusively on Hyatt. Imagine a traveler named Jessica from Denver. Jessica is planning a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Maui in late 2026. The cash price for a standard room is $1,200 per night, totaling $6,000 for the stay. If Jessica uses Marriott points, she might need 400,000 points for that stay. If she uses Hyatt points, she could potentially secure the same level of luxury for just 150,000 points. Because Jessica uses a Chase trifecta, she can transfer her points 1-to-1 to Hyatt, effectively getting a 400% increase in value compared to if she had used a different ecosystem. This is the Hyatt exception, and it is the first rule of mastering the destination. Prioritize high-value transfer partners over high-volume earners. However, points are only half the story. In 2026, elite status is the primary tool for avoiding the nickel-and-diming that has become standard in the hospitality industry. Think about the hidden costs of a hotel stay: $25 breakfasts, $50 resort fees, and $30 parking charges. For a week-long stay, these junk fees can easily add $700 to your bill. But if you hold the right credit card, You can bypass these costs entirely through status shortcuts. A case study in this strategy involves the American Express Platinum Card. Simply by holding this card and clicking a button in your benefits dashboard, you are granted Marriott Gold and Hilton Gold status. While Gold status used to be mediocre, in 2026, Hilton Gold remains one of the most powerful mid-tier statuses because it provides a daily food and beverage credit or continental breakfast. For a family of 4, this benefit alone can save $80 a day. Over a 10-day international trip, that is an $800 return on a card that you likely already have for the airfare benefits. But the real masterstroke in 2026 is the Luxury Hotel Program arbitrage. Programs like American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts, known as FHR, and the Chase Luxury Hotel and Resort Collection allow you to book rooms at the world's best properties while receiving elite-style benefits regardless of your actual status. When you book through these portals, you receive a room upgrade upon arrival based on availability, daily breakfast for 2, a guaranteed 4 post-meridian late checkout, and a unique property amenity, which is usually a $100 credit for the spa or dining. Let us look at a step-by-step example of how a strategist named David uses this in New York City. David needs a one-night stay for a business meeting. He sees a high-end hotel listed for $350. If he books directly, he pays $350 and gets a room. Instead, David books through the Amex FHR portal. He uses his annual $200 hotel credit that comes with his Platinum card, bringing his out-of-pocket cost down to $150. When he checks in, he is upgraded to a junior suite. He uses his $100 dining credit for a high-end dinner at the hotel restaurant. The next morning, he has a $40 breakfast for free. He works from his room until 4 in the afternoon thanks to the guaranteed late checkout. David has effectively received $500 in value for an out-of-pocket cost of $150. This is not just a discount. It is a mathematical inversion where the benefits outweigh the costs. We must also address the resort fee trap. In 2026, resort fees have spread from Las Vegas and Hawaii to almost every major city in the U.S. These are mandatory fees that are not included in the initial price you see on travel search engines. However, there is a historical trend in loyalty program rules that you can exploit. When you book a room entirely with points in the Hilton or Hyatt programs, the resort fees are waived. Imagine you are staying at a property in Las Vegas where the resort fee is $50 a night. On a 5-night stay, you are paying $250 in fees on top of your room rate. By using points, you keep that $250 in your pocket. This increases your effective cent per point value because you are not just covering the room, you are covering the tax and the mandatory fees. For those who want to reach the absolute pinnacle of hotel luxury, we have to discuss the 5th night free benefit. This is a standard feature for Marriott and Hilton when booking with points. If you book 4 nights, the 5th night is 0 points. This is a 20% discount baked into the system. Step by step, if a room is 50,000 points a night, a 4-night stay is 200,000 points. A 5-night stay is also 200,000 points. A professional strategist never books a 4-night stay with points. They always find a way to stay for 5 to maximize the efficiency of their balance. The 2026 landscape also introduces the concept of Brand Explorer rewards. Hyatt, for example, gives you a free night certificate for every 5 different brands you stay at within their portfolio. If you stay at a Hyatt Regency, a Park Hyatt, an Andaz, a Thompson, and a Hyatt Place, you get a free night to use at any Category 1 through 4 hotel. By intentionally diversifying where you stay, you are earning a secondary currency that has a cash value of up to $300. But as lucrative as the hotel world is, it is only one side of the destination. What happens when you leave the hotel? How do you move around a foreign city? How do you access experiences that aren't listed on TripAdvisor? In 2026, the best travel cards have evolved into lifestyle concierge services that can unlock private tours, sold-out restaurant reservations, and even emergency medical evacuations. The next part of this masterclass is going to dive into the invisible benefits of your wallet. We are going to look at the concierge wars of 2026, where we put the Amex Concierge against the Chase Visa Infinite Concierge to see who can actually get you a table at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Tokyo on 2 days' notice. We will also cover the purchase protection and return protection policies that can save you thousands if you buy a luxury item abroad that is damaged or stolen. You have the flight, you have the room, now we are going to ensure that every moment in between is protected and optimized. The loop is closing on the logistics, and we are moving into the realm of elite experiences. Show up as a tourist but move like a local. We are going deep into the concierge secrets next. To move like a local while showing up as a tourist, you have to activate the human infrastructure that sits behind your titanium or gold-plated card. In 2026, we are living in the age of total automation, where every restaurant reservation is supposedly handled by an app and every travel hiccup is met with a chatbot. But for the US flyer holding a premium credit card, the true elite experience lies in the human bypass. This is the realm of the concierge wars, a silent but fierce competition between American Express, Chase, and Capital One to provide the most frictionless lifestyle support on the planet. Most people think the concierge button on the back of their card is a relic of the 90s, but in 2026, it has become the ultimate tool for navigating a world that is increasingly sold out. Let us look at a case study involving a traveler named James from San Francisco. James was in Tokyo during the peak cherry blossom season, a time when every Michelin-starred restaurant is booked months in advance. James spent 3 hours trying to navigate Japanese booking sites with no luck. He then remembered the concierge service attached to his Visa Infinite card. He didn't just ask for a table, he gave them a specific parameters: a high-end sushi experience within a 3-mile radius of Roppongi that could accommodate a gluten allergy. Because the Visa Infinite concierge has localized teams with direct relationships with restaurant managers, they were able to secure a cancellation spot at a world-class omakase counter that never appeared on a public booking platform. James didn't pay an extra fee for this service. It was a benefit he had already paid for with his annual fee. The potential outcome here is the difference between a convenience store dinner and a bucket list culinary memory. Historical trends show that while the American Express concierge was the undisputed leader for decades, Chase and Capital One have invested heavily in 2026 to close the gap. The Amex concierge still holds the edge for high-stakes events like the Formula One Miami Grand Prix or the US Open. Imagine you are at the US Open in New York. While the general public is standing in 90-degree heat for a $15 water, you are using your Amex Platinum to access the Centurion Suite, an air-conditioned oasis with complimentary drinks and a prime view of the court. This is the lifestyle arbitrage of 2026. You are not paying for the VIP ticket. You are using your card as the VIP ticket. But the concierge is only the beginning of the invisible benefits matrix. We must discuss the purchase protection and return protection policies that act as a global safety net for your shopping. Consider a scenario involving Maria, a traveler from Chicago who was shopping in London. She purchased a high-end designer handbag for $2,000 using her premium travel card. 3 days later, while boarding a train to Paris, the strap caught on a closing door and snapped, and the leather was badly scuffed. Most people would assume they are out of luck or would have to deal with a complicated international warranty claim. However, because Maria used a card with robust purchase protection, she was covered for damage or theft for up to 90 days from the date of purchase. She filed a claim through the bank's online portal, uploaded a photo of the damage and her receipt, and within 2 weeks, she was reimbursed for the full cost of the repair. In 2026, these protections have limits that every strategist should know by heart. Typically, you are looking at $10,000 per claim and up to $50,000 per calendar year. This effectively makes your credit card an insurance policy for every physical item you buy. Step by step, the process for a successful claim requires 3 things: the original store receipt, a copy of your credit card statement showing the charge, and in the case of theft, a police report filed within 48 hours. If you are buying a new iPhone, a luxury watch, or even expensive camera gear for your travels, using the right card is not about the points. It is about the replacement value if something goes wrong. Then there is the benefit that most people hope they never use, but which provides the highest theoretical value in your wallet: emergency medical evacuation. Imagine if you are hiking in a remote part of the Swiss Alps or traveling through a rural area in Southeast Asia, and you suffer a serious injury. A private medical evacuation flight can easily cost upwards of $100,000. Most standard health insurance plans in the United States do not cover international medical transport. However, premium cards like the Amex Platinum or the Chase Sapphire Reserve provide a premium global assist hotline. If you are more than 100 miles from home, the bank will coordinate and pay for emergency medical transportation to a hospital that can provide the necessary care. Let us look at the data on this. Historical case studies from 2026 show that these services are utilized thousands of times a year by U.S. travelers. The key detail is that you must call the card's benefit administrator first. You cannot book your own private jet and ask for a refund later. They must manage the logistics. This single hidden benefit justifies the annual fee of a premium card for a lifetime of travel. It is the ultimate peace of mind that allows you to explore the edges of the map without the fear of $1 million medical bill. We also have to talk about the 2026 event presale economy. In a world where concert tickets and sporting events are snatched up by bots in seconds, card member-only presales are the only way to ensure access at face value prices. Whether it is a Taylor Swift tour or a championship game, banks like Citi and Capital One have secured exclusive blocks of tickets for their customers. A professional traveler uses these not just for themselves, but as a form of currency. Buying a block of tickets at face value through a card member portal, and then using them for a client event or a family gathering, is a high-value move that bypasses the predatory secondary market. But how do you manage all of this without it becoming a full-time job? The step-by-step optimization involves benefit stacking. You should have a digital folder on your phone containing the benefits guide PDF for every card in your wallet. When you are standing in a store in Milan or a terminal in Singapore and something goes wrong, you don't search the internet. You search your own documentation. You need to know which card has the return protection if a merchant refuses to take back an item, and which card has the cell phone protection if you drop your device on a cobblestone street. In 2026, most mid-tier cards offer $600 to $800 in cell phone insurance just for paying your monthly bill with the card. If you are paying for a separate insurance plan through your carrier, you are throwing away nearly $200 a year. The strategy is clear. Show up with the right plastic, and the world bends to accommodate you. You have the lounge for the wait, the business class seat for the flight, the suite upgrade for the stay, and the concierge for the experience. But there is a shadow side to this level of optimization that we have to address. As you accumulate hundreds of thousands of points and receive thousands of dollars in free travel and perks, you enter a complex relationship with the IRS and the legal framework of the United States. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the tax and legal safeguards of the points world. We will answer the question that keeps many high earners up at night. Are these points taxable income? We will look at the 2026 rulings on business versus personal point usage and how to structure your points portfolio to stay completely compliant while maximizing your wealth. We are moving from the fun part of travel into the serious part of wealth preservation. If you want to play this game for the long haul, you need to know where the legal lines are drawn. The open loop is now shifting to the one thing more certain than travel: taxes. The transition from the thrill of the lounge to the sobriety of a spreadsheet is the hallmark of a true professional. In the United States, the tax and legal landscape surrounding credit card points has remained a point of confusion for decades. But in 2026, the Internal Revenue Service and major financial institutions have refined their reporting mechanisms, making it more important than ever to understand where your rewards sit on the balance sheet. To navigate this, we must first establish the foundational principle that governs the vast majority of points earned in the U.S., the rebate rule. Historically, and continuing into 2026, the IRS has treated points earned through credit card spending as a non-taxable discount or rebate on a purchase, rather than as income. Imagine a professional in Denver named Robert. Robert spends $50,000 a year on his credit cards for groceries, gas, and utilities. He earns 100,000 points. When Robert redeems those points for a $2,000 flight, he does not owe a single cent in taxes on that value. From the perspective of the tax code, Robert simply paid $48,000 for $50,000 worth of goods and services. The points are viewed as a price adjustment. This is the cornerstone of why travel rewards are such a powerful wealth preservation tool. However, the 2026 landscape introduces a critical distinction between spending rewards and incentive rewards. Let us look at a case study involving Sarah, a graphic designer in Austin. Sarah is active in the travel community and frequently shares her referral links with friends and family. In 2026, Sarah referred 5 friends to a premium travel card, earning a total of 100,000 referral points. Unlike the points Sarah earns from her own grocery spending, these referral points did not require her to spend any money. In the eyes of the bank and the IRS, these are considered a form of commission for services rendered. Historical trends show that banks like American Express and Chase now consistently issue 1,099 MISC forms to customers who earn more than $600 worth of referral bonuses in a calendar year. The bank typically values these points at a fixed rate, often 1 cent per point. This means Sarah might receive a tax form at the end of the year stating she earned $1,000 in miscellaneous income. Even if Sarah redeems those points for a flight valued at 5 cents per point, the taxable amount remains tied to the bank's valuation. For a high-tier strategist, the step-by-step move here is to track these referrals carefully and set aside a portion of your travel budget to cover the potential tax liability. Failing to account for a 1099 can lead to a surprise bill and a mismatch with your reported income, which is a red flag for modern automated audits. We must also address the business spend paradox, which is particularly relevant for small business owners in 2026. Consider the case of Jordan, the contractor we discussed earlier who spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on materials. Jordan earns millions of points on his business credit cards and uses them to take his family on international vacations. Is this a taxable benefit from his business? Under current U.S. tax guidance, specifically looking back at the precedent set by Announcement 2002-18, the IRS does not generally pursue individual taxpayers for personal use of frequent flyer miles earned through business travel or business spending. However, a potential outcome of this complexity arises when you attempt to deduct the full cost of a business expense while also capturing a rebate. If Jordan buys $10,000 of lumber and gets 2% back in points, he still deducts the full $10,000 as a business expense. While this is the industry standard practice, a professional strategist in 2026 keeps meticulous records of business versus personal redemptions. If you are using points to pay for business travel, you cannot also deduct the cash value of that flight as an expense because you didn't actually spend the cash. This double dipping is where most legal friction occurs. The step-by-step best practice is to use business points for personal travel, where they remain a non-taxable rebate, and use cash for business travel, where the full cost remains a deductible business expense. There is also a major distinction between credit card bonuses and bank account bonuses. In 2026, many U.S. flyers tried to diversify by opening high-yield checking or savings accounts that offer 40,000 points as a sign-up incentive. Because these bonuses do not require a spend, but rather a deposit, the IRS views them as interest income. You will almost certainly receive a 1,099 INT for the cash value of those points. If you are chasing a bank bonus, you must factor in that your net gain will be reduced by your marginal tax rate. A 40,000-point bonus valued at $400 might only be worth $280 after taxes for a high earner. Beyond taxes, we must navigate the legal red lines of account management. In 2026, the points broker industry has become a high-risk shadow market. You will see websites offering to buy your miles for cash. This is a direct violation of the terms and conditions of every major airline and bank. While it is not illegal, in the sense of criminal law in most states, it is a death sentence for your loyalty accounts. If an airline's fraud department detects that you have sold your points to a third party, they will not only cancel the flight and seize your remaining balance, but they will also permanently blacklist you from the program. We have seen historical trends where people lost millions of points and their ability to ever hold a card with that bank again because they tried to liquidate their points for a quick check. A strategist knows that the only legal and safe way to share points is through official transfer mechanisms or by booking a flight for a friend or family member directly from your account, which is generally permitted as long as no money changes hands. Let us look at a case study of account shutdowns. A traveler named Marcus in Seattle was a heavy churner, opening and closing 12 cards in a single year and using manufactured spend techniques to hit bonuses. In 2026, bank algorithms have become incredibly sensitive to velocity and cycling. Marcus found that one morning, all his accounts were closed with no explanation. This is known as the financial death penalty. The bank has the legal right to end their relationship with you at any time for almost any reason. To prevent this potential outcome, you must practice reasonable usage. This means not spending exactly the amount of the minimum requirement and then stopping, and not using your cards for suspicious cash-like transactions at scale. Finally, we must consider the corporate ownership of points. If you are an employee at a large firm in 2026, who owns the miles you earn on your company-issued Amex? Most corporate policies allow the employee to keep the miles as a perk of the job. However, some companies have moved to corporate-managed programs where the points stay with the company to offset future travel costs. Before you build a strategy around your work travel, you must perform a step-by-step audit of your employee handbook. If you are earning 1 million miles a year on the company dime, you need to be certain that those miles are yours to keep before you plan your honeymoon around them. The legal and tax framework is the guardrail that ensures your travel engine keeps running for decades. You now understand the difference between rebates and income, the reality of 1099s, and the risks of the secondary market. You are no longer just a hacker. You are a compliant and sophisticated manager of a digital asset portfolio. But even with the legalities sorted, there is one final question. How do you put it all together into a lifelong system? How do you move from the first card to a multi-million point legacy? In the final part of this masterclass, we are going to look at the legacy strategy. We will discuss how to manage points as a family, the Player 2 strategy that doubles your earning power, and the specific sunset plan for when you want to stop chasing points and start living entirely off the dividends of your strategy. We are going to build the ultimate roadmap for the next 10 years of your life. The loop is almost closed. The final step is the most powerful. We are going to show you how to turn this into a generational travel fund. A generational travel fund begins with a concept known as the Player 2 strategy, which is the single most effective way to multiply your points velocity without increasing your household spending by a single cent. In the world of 2026 travel rewards, the term Player 2 refers to a spouse, domestic partner, or a trusted family member who lives in your household and shares your travel goals. While one person acting alone can achieve incredible results, two people working in tandem can effectively double the number of sign-up bonuses, referral incentives, and category multipliers available to the household. Imagine a couple in Denver, Mark and Sarah, who are planning a high-tier trip to the Maldives. If Mark opens a premium card alone, he might earn 100,000 points. But if Mark and Sarah coordinate, Mark can refer Sarah to that same card. The step-by-step mechanics of this referral loop are where the real value is captured. When Mark refers Sarah, he receives a referral bonus, historically ranging from 15,000 to 40,000 points, and Sarah receives the standard sign-up bonus. Suddenly, the household has not just 100,000 points, but perhaps 240,000 points for the exact same total spending requirement. In 2026, many banks have implemented sophisticated referral caps, typically limiting an individual to 5 or 10 referrals per year. By alternating who is the referrer and who is the referee across different card ecosystems, a household can systematically harvest nearly 1 million points annually just by moving their existing bills and expenses from one new card to the next in a controlled, legal, and highly profitable cycle. However, the strategy requires precise synchronization of application windows and bonus eligibility. For example, if Sarah has held a specific card in the last 48 months, she may not be eligible for a new bonus. A professional roadmap involves maintaining a shared spreadsheet or tracking app where both players list their open dates, bonus received dates, and current Chase 524 status. This prevents the common mistake of applying for a card too early and missing out on a massive bonus. Historical trends show that couples who synchronize their spending, putting all grocery spend on Player 1's new card until the bonus is hit, then switching to Player 2's new card, reach their travel goals 4 times faster than those who operate independently. Once the points are earned, you must master the art of household pooling. In 2026, the rules for moving points between people are highly specific to the issuer. Chase Ultimate Rewards allows you to move points to one other member of your household for free, provided you share the same address. This is a massive advantage because it allows you to consolidate points into the account of the person who holds the highest tier card, such as the Sapphire Reserve, to get the best redemption value. American Express does not allow direct point transfers between people, but they allow a workaround where you can link your Player 2's frequent flyer account to your own membership rewards account, provided they have been an authorized user on your account for at least 90 days. Capital One has become the most flexible player in 2026, allowing you to move miles to anyone else who has a Capital One Miles earning card, regardless of their relationship or address. Understanding these technical nuances is the difference between having points scattered across 10 different accounts and having a unified war chest ready for a first-class booking. But as you move into the 5-year and 10-year mark of this journey, you must prepare for the sunset plan. You cannot open new cards forever. Eventually, you will have held most of the high-value cards on the market, and your credit report will need periods of cooling off to maintain a high score. The sunset plan is the transition from churning to holding. This involves identifying your keepers, the cards that provide so much annual value through credits, lounge access, and high category multipliers that they earn their place in your wallet permanently. In 2026, a professional portfolio usually consists of a few no-annual fee cards that hold your oldest credit lines, anchored by 1 or 2 premium cards that provide the infrastructure of your travel lifestyle. By keeping these accounts open for decades, You build a massive average age of accounts, which acts as a shield for your credit score, allowing it to remain in the 800s even if you decide to pick up a new bonus once or twice a year in the future. Let us look at a case study of a generational approach. Imagine Mark and Sarah have a child who is heading to college. Because Mark and Sarah have been disciplined with their credit for 15 years, they can add their child as an authorized user on their oldest, high-limit card. This effectively ports a portion of their perfect credit history over to the next generation. By the time their child turns 18, they already have a credit score in the mid-700s, allowing them to skip the starter cards with low limits and go straight for a high-value travel card. This is the ultimate gift of travel literacy, providing the next generation with the tools to see the world without the burden of high-interest debt or the friction of low-tier travel. We must also consider the potential outcomes of point diversification as we look toward the 2030s. Historical trends suggest that the value of any single airline or hotel currency will fluctuate. A strategist in 2026 never keeps all their eggs in one basket. They maintain a balanced portfolio of transferable bank points because they are the hard currency of the travel world. If an airline devalues its miles overnight, the bank points can simply be sent to a different partner. This flexibility is your insurance policy against the shifting sands of corporate loyalty programs. As we conclude this deep dive masterclass, the final step is a shift in mindset. You have learned the math, the mechanics, the legalities, and the strategies. But the real unlocking happens when you realize that credit card points are simply a tool to facilitate human experience. Whether it is taking your parents on their first international trip, flying your children to see the wonders of the world, or simply enjoying the quiet luxury of a lie-flat bed on a 10-hour flight, the points are the means to an end. The roadmap we have built over these 10 parts is designed to take the stress out of the how, so you can focus on the where. You now have the exact blueprint used by the most sophisticated travelers in the United States. You know how to build a trifecta, how to navigate the 524 rule, how to find hidden partner award space, and how to protect your family with the insurance matrix. The loop of the masterclass is closing, but the loop of your travel journey is just beginning. Every swipe of your card is now a strategic move toward your next destination. But there is one final, elite level of the game that we haven't touched on yet: the world of hidden award charts and round-the-world tickets that allow you to visit 5 continents for the price of one business class ticket. While this series has given you the foundation, the next evolution involves the specific high-level tools for those looking to circle the globe. The horizon is moving, and it is time for you to chase it. For those ready to take the final leap into the world of multi-continent itineraries, the path is already being paved. We will see you at the gate.